Have you ever noticed how some brands become almost impossible to separate from the games they appeared in? Today, crossovers are everywhere. One week it's a superhero franchise, the next it's an anime collaboration, and before long, everyone's talking about the latest Battle Pass. But long before modern live service games turned partnerships into a business model, some developers were already bringing real-world brands directly into their worlds. Sometimes it was simple advertising. Other times, the collaboration became so iconic that players still remember the brand decades later. From Cloud Strife's Panasonic phone to Noctis' love for Cup Noodles, here are 10 times real-world brands became part of gaming history. Starting with number 10. Splinter Cell series. Long before smartphones became a part of everyday life, mobile phone manufacturers were racing to prove what their devices could do. Ubisoft's Splinter Cell series became one of the franchises caught right in the middle of that battle. The series partnered with companies like Nokia, Sony Ericsson, and Motorola through various promotions and campaigns. But Nokia's relationship with Splinter Cell went much further. Multiple titles in the franchise were released on the Nokia N-Gage, a device that attempted to combine mobile phones and handheld gaming into a single platform. While the N-Gage ultimately struggled against dedicated handhelds, the partnership helped establish Splinter Cell as one of gaming's most technologically advanced franchises, perfectly matching Sam Fisher's image as a spy equipped with cutting-edge gadgets. Number 9. Crazy Taxi. Today, seeing real brands in games is fairly common. Back in the arcade era, it was something entirely different. Crazy Taxi filled its world with real businesses and retail stores. Instead of driving passengers to generic locations, players could find themselves racing toward KFC, Pizza Hut, Levi's, Tower Records, and other recognizable brands. What made the collaboration stand out was how naturally it fit the gameplay. The brands weren't hidden in the background. They were literally part of your objectives. Looking back, Crazy Taxi was one of the earliest examples of large-scale product placement done in a way that players actually enjoyed. Number 8. Alan Wake. Most product placements feel forced. Alan Wake was one of the rare exceptions. Throughout the game, players rely on a flashlight to fight back against the darkness. Without light, survival becomes nearly impossible. So when the game featured Energizer batteries powering that flashlight, it felt surprisingly natural. The partnership worked because it directly connected to one of the game's core mechanics. Combined with Verizon promotions surrounding the release, Alan Wake became an example of advertising that enhanced immersion instead of breaking it. Number 7. Cyberpunk 2077. Night City is filled with futuristic technology, cybernetic implants, and vehicles that look like they belong hundreds of years in the future. Yet one of the most memorable cars in the game comes from the real world. Johnny Silverhand's Porsche 911 Turbo quickly became one of the most iconic vehicles in Cyberpunk 2077. Its presence connected the game's dystopian future to a recognizable piece of automotive history. The collaboration extended beyond the game itself, with Porsche participating in promotional campaigns and showcasing custom builds inspired by Cyberpunk's futuristic aesthetic. Even in a world full of flying cars and cybernetic enhancements, a classic Porsche still managed to steal the spotlight. Number 6. Yakuza series. If you've ever played a Yakuza game, you've probably walked past dozens of real-world businesses without even thinking about it. That's because the franchise has spent years recreating authentic Japanese city life through partnerships with actual brands. Players can encounter Lawson convenience stores, Don Quixote retail locations, Suntory beverages, Boss coffee products, and numerous other recognizable businesses throughout the series. Rather than feeling like advertisements, these brands help make Kamurocho and other locations feel believable. The result is one of the most authentic urban environments in gaming, where real-world businesses contribute to the atmosphere rather than distract from it. Number 5. Metal Gear Solid 5. When it comes to realism, few creators embrace detail quite like Hideo Kojima. Metal Gear Solid 5 featured collaborations with Puma and luxury eyewear company JF Ray, bringing real-world fashion into the game's military setting. On paper, that might sound unusual. In practice, it worked surprisingly well. The tactical design of the Puma products and the futuristic styling of JF Ray eyewear blended naturally with Metal Gear's world, proving that product collaborations don't always have to feel like advertisements. Sometimes they can actually strengthen a game's identity. Number 4. Death Stranding. If there is one game on this list that fully embraces product collaborations, it's Death Stranding. Few players will forget walking into Sam Bridges' private room and seeing cans of Monster Energy waiting on the table. The collaboration became one of the most talked about product placements in gaming history. Some players loved it, others thought it was hilariously out of place. Either way, people remembered it. But Monster Energy wasn't the only partnership. Death Stranding also worked with luxury eyewear company JF Ray and fashion brand Acronym, extending its futuristic design language beyond the game itself. Love it or hate it, Death Stranding demonstrated just how visible a brand collaboration could become. Number 3. Final Fantasy VII. Advent Children. Before high-tech phones became mainstream, Cloud Strife was already carrying one. Throughout Final Fantasy VII, Advent Children, Cloud uses the Panasonic P900 IV, a real mobile phone released in Japan. The collaboration became so successful that Panasonic released a special Cloud Black edition featuring exclusive Final Fantasy content. What makes this partnership memorable is how seamlessly it fits into the film. The phone never felt like an advertisement. It simply felt like part of Cloud's everyday life. More than 20 years later, fans still remember that device, making it one of the most iconic examples of technology branding in gaming-related media. Number 2. Shenmue. Before Grand Theft Auto popularized massive open worlds, Shenmue was already pushing realism to new heights. Set in 1986 Japan, the game recreated everyday life with incredible attention to detail. Players could purchase drinks from Coca-Cola vending machines, encounter motorcycles from Honda and Suzuki, and discover products from brands like Timex throughout the world. Those brands helped create a believable snapshot of everyday life in Japan during the 1980s, and it made Shenmue very special. Players were living in the world, exploring neighborhoods, visiting local businesses, and experiencing routines that felt remarkably authentic for the time. For many players, Shenmue was the first game world that truly felt alive, and those real-world brands played a surprisingly important role in making Yokosuka feel like a real place. And finally, number 1. Final Fantasy XV. No game embraced real-world collaborations quite like Final Fantasy XV. The most famous example is, of course, Cup Noodles. The partnership became so integrated into the game that an entire side quest was dedicated to creating the perfect Cup Noodles experience. What could have been a simple advertisement became one of the most memorable and frequently discussed moments in the game. But the collaborations didn't stop there. Audi partnered with Square Enix to create a real-world version of the regalia. Coleman camping gear perfectly matched the group's outdoor adventures. Fashion brand Rhone contributed to the game's distinctive dark and contemporary style, while Vivienne Westwood designed Lunafrea's iconic wedding dress, bringing high fashion directly into the world of Final Fantasy XV. American Express also participated in promotional campaigns surrounding the launch. Because of these numerous partnerships, some players joked that Final Fantasy XV felt like one giant advertisement. Others saw it differently. Unlike traditional fantasy RPGs filled with castles, kingdoms, and medieval villages, Final Fantasy XV is set in a modern fantasy world. Noctis and his friends travel across highways, drive luxury cars, stay in hotels, fuel up at roadside stops, camp under the stars, and explore bustling cities that feel surprisingly close to our own. In that context, brands like Audi, Coleman, and Cup Noodles didn't feel completely out of place. Instead, they complemented the game's road trip adventure, helping reinforce the sense that this was a living, contemporary world rather than a distant fantasy realm. The game's themes revolve around friendship, travel, camping, food, and exploration. In many ways, those real-world brands strengthen the atmosphere Square Enix was trying to create, making the journey feel more familiar and believable. Whether intentional or not, Final Fantasy XV became the gold standard for large-scale gaming partnerships. Product placement in games often gets criticized, but the best collaborations become part of gaming history. Years later, players still remember Cloud's Panasonic phone, Sam Bridges' Monster Energy cans, Johnny Silverhand's Porsche, and Noctis' obsession with Cup Noodles. In those rare cases, the brand stops feeling like an advertisement and becomes part of the world itself. Which gaming brand collaboration do you remember the most? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to like and share if you enjoyed the video, and subscribe for more gaming news and features only here at Enduins. This is Weena, and see you on the next one.